Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkabutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video. We are featuring the beautiful butterflies and the elements of text stamp sets today to create some cards like this. So I made a whole bunch of samples, this layout. So we're using the stamps and the dies. Where are we taking sentiment? Sentiment is from this one, and then we've got this lovely round text that we're going to put in the background, along with some splatter. Yes, I'm using the splatter from here as well. Okay, so there's a couple of other motifs that you can use as well, and they are, you can make out the odd word here and there, but mostly it's not actually something that you can read, but really nice sort of grungy backgrounds that you can add to your cards with this set, which is really nice. It's a cling set, and this is an online exclusive at the moment. Beautiful Butterflies is in our current mini catalogue. So as yet we don't know exactly what's carrying over, so don't know whether this will be or not, whether it might go online, but we're gonna keep using it until we know otherwise. So the samples I've made, I've used the in colours that are sticking around. So come May the 6th, when our new catalogues go live, the 2023 colours will retire. That's the Wild Wheat, Moody Mauve, Boho Blue, Copper Clay, Pebbled Path. They retire, we get new ones, but these ones are sticking around for another year. But the coordinating DSP will change over. We've got some new patterns to come in. Okay, so I thought we'd use those colours and use a few little scraps of this DSP that I had left over from some other projects. So from one sheet of 6x6, I think I managed to get out 2 cards. The little treat parcels that I shared, that's on my blog and on my Instagram if you want to have a look at those projects. And this was the little piece of paper that was left over. So this is what I made. Okay, so we're going to make something similar but different, because that's how I rock and roll with you guys. I like to give you lots of ideas on how to create the different looks. So I've just got scraps out now. So this is Night of Navy, just a little scrap that's left over from some die cutting. So I can do my my little butterflies. So I've already got the dies out here, so I'm going to do my detailed butterflies and the butterfly body. We get 2 of these actually in each pack, so when I was doing the multiples it meant that I could do all of those all at the same time. So they seem to be magnetised by my magnet, so I'm going to pop those ready to die cut in a very clumsy way, it would appear. So let's just make sure that they're on there. So they're ready to die cut in a second. The little piece of DSP, so if you want a measurement, it's 3 by 1.5, but it's literally an offcut, okay, from whatever. But obviously if you want to make a batch of these cards, you'd get absolutely loads out of, you'd get like 4 out of half a sheet of 6x6 DSP if you wanted to do that. Okay, so that's a piece of DSP, and then these are also little scraps and offcuts from when I trimmed down card layers and card blanks and things like that. So this little skinny one is going to be the sentiment. So the So Thankful, I'm just going to go on to this one. And then this one we're going to emboss with the mini corrugated embossing folder. Okay, so from a colour ink combination, we're going to use both Night of Navy and Mr. Moonlight. So I'm going to use Night of Navy as my sort of sentiment and background. So let's just get our sentiment done, which I'm just going to do on this super skinny little piece of cardstock. This end's going to be long, but it will just tuck into all the other elements when they're done. Then this is our elements of text stamp and this time I'm actually going to stamp this directly onto the card base. I don't often do that, but that's what I'm doing today. So this is thick basic white that I'm using to make my card bases. That's how I always make my card bases, with half sheets of A4 thick cardstock. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that into the background. Just firm pressure on my, this is an E block, just firmly all over and lift up. And I don't actually mind if it's just a little bit imperfect, shall we say. The design kind of lends itself to that kind of thing. And then, while we've got ink out, let's do the splatter. So from the same elements of text, I've actually put both of the stamps on there in this sort of quirky kind of orientation, just to give us more bang for our buck. So we're going to pop that up there. Probably could have used a lighter blue as well, maybe boho blue or something, just to make that stand out a little bit more and give it a bit more contrast. And we'll put one down here, sort of leaping out from the behind that text there. Okay, so that's the background done. Okay, and then we've got bits that we need to stick together and die cut and things like that. Oh, actually, stamping's not done. I need to stamp my butterfly. Oh, convenient scrap of white paper here. That will do. And we're doing this in Misty Moonlight. So just some light tapping on there. There's a bit of bubbles. Just blow on it and lightly press that down. Okay, so those thicker parts of the ink are just going to take a minute to dry, so we'll just leave that to do its thing before we die cut that out. And we'll do that once we've done all the other little pieces. So let's pop that to one side, wipe that off quickly. Okay, right, so the dies that I put on the cutting plate, this is what we're aiming for in a different colour. They're there, so we'll get all these die cut right now. Nice and quick. Right, and shove them nice and close together, so long as they don't cross over and try and cut into each other. You can pop them onto the plate as tight as you like. So the only thing you don't want to do is get them overlapping each other. Okay, so you can lift those off, just put them back on the little magnetic thingy I've got. It's a little, this is a needle keeper. You can get mechanical, mechanics tool pot thingies as well that are magnetic, which helps keep your dies all in place. So we've got a Night of Navy little butterfly body there that we're going to stick on our Misty Moonlight one. Don't know whether the contrast is going to be high enough on that, so I think I might go over that with a little bit of marker pen. And then we just need to get all these little pieces out of our little detailed dies here. So sometimes they all stick in and sometimes they all fall out. It kind of depends really. So you can just use like a little pokey tool and get all those out. Doesn't take a minute. Okay. Just makes a bit of a mess on your desk really. So I tend to just do this right over the bin, so they can fall straight in there rather than having to try and fight and get these things off the desk again. But we can just move those away. My surface is a silicone worktop protector designed for kitchens, so it does sort of grip things, which is kind of good in some ways and bad in others. This is one of the things that it's a little bit of a nuisance for, but generally speaking, it's absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Just want this to completely dry before I die cut it. So while we do that, I'm going to take the mini corrugated embossing folder and put this strip of cardstock in. This is just a scrap, so it happens to be 1/2 inch, which is approximately 1.5 centimeters. So we're going to run that through our cut and emboss. So we need the base platform, the embossing folder, and our number 4, which is the dark grey plate. And that's going to give us this cute little accent on the back, just to give it a bit of texture. So I'll cut the strip first, because if you cut it afterwards, you might depress some of that embossing. So I cut it first and then emboss it. Okay, so there's our butterfly elements. I think we can die cut this now, so we just need a bit of low tack tape just to put over that, just to make sure it stays in place. Cutting plates back, and a top plate, and I'll just wind that through. There we go. Right, so this little body doesn't have as much contrast as I was hoping, so I'm just going to grab, this will do, a piece of scrap, and I'm going to use my Night of Navy blend. There it is, got it. Brush tip here. There we go. Let's just go over that. So that looks really, really dark. Probably on the camera, probably looks like it should be. It is black, but it isn't. Yeah, when you look at it in real life. There we go. And because it's an alcohol ink, that's going to dry quite quickly, so that's just going to help with the contrast on that. And what we'll need to do is just get that into place and drying, so that it's not going to move around while we do our other bits and pieces. It's not an exact match for this, it's not really designed for this butterfly stamp, I don't think. I think it's designed to go with the little die cuts, but I thought it looked nice. Okay, so that's helped with the contrast on there, just making that just a little bit darker, but it is still definitely blue. Okay, still blue. So for this part, we've got all our little elements now, so we'll just use some Stampin' Seal, and then you want to decide which bit of this you want showing. I think, yeah, so we'll put it this way because the strip's going to go there, and this is pretty, so I'll put it that way around, about 1/4 inch from the edge, somewhere around there. Now whack some more seal on there, or we'll use some tearing tape or something like that, and I'm gonna pop that just over to this edge, about halfway across that gap, somewhere around there. I'm not sure that's actually straight, but I'll go with it. The butterfly, I'm going to use a combination of a mini and regular dimensional. So our mini dimensional is going to go at the bottom, big dimensional at the top, so that we can pop this on over that corrugated element. body's not quite dry, so just knock that a little bit, but that's fine. So those dimensionals are going to stick directly to the paper rather than trying to stick over that textured corrugated element there. Some more dabs of glue on these little elements. I'm just trying to hold those down just for a moment, just while the glue just sort of starts to firm up. Not for long, just for, count to 5, give it a good press, that'll be fine. And then this guy, again, because we're sticking it over texture, I'm just going to put the merest amount of glue along that, and I'm going to stick it so that it's at a nice distance from here. Because we haven't got any dimensionals behind here, this is going to go behind that butterfly without any obstruction. There's no dimensional here, nothing sticking it down, so it'll slide in. Isn't that cute? Okay, and then you just want to add some embellishments. So I'm going to use these things. These are iridescent faceted gems. Just for something sort of sparkling nice that can go in there. There's 2 sizes, which means we can do our little visual triangle. These are pretty. Okay, and they'll just sort of twinkle away when somebody opens the card and has a look at it up close. So yeah, so here's my different colourway with those stamps and those little iridescent gems just sort of twinkle away there. Okay, and then these are the in colour and black versions. Alright, so so hopefully that's given you an idea of how you can use the elements together, and obviously the colour combinations are up to you now. Whatever you would like to do, whether you want to go monochromatic or whether you want to really sort of jazz it up with lots of colours, it's entirely up to you. But it's a perfect way to use up these little scraps of DSP or little scraps of white cardstock just to add some little elements to your cards. As always, the links to all of the products I've used today are going to be linked in the description, so they go straight to the online store where you can purchase those if you wish. Yeah, so do look out for sort of last chance items and things over the next sort of during April really. We'll know more what's carrying over, what's not, into the new catalogue launching in May. Very exciting times. Thanks ever so much for your support as always. Do stay safe, take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.